स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भृगो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुद्धानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी श्रद्धानंद भगवान की जय। माता पिता की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरुदेवों श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्रीमद् भागवत गीता चैप्टर 4 verse number 13. The fourfold group of people based on duties and qualities. The four varnas are based on the duties and the quality. And what Bhagavan says is चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्। मया, by me, गुण कर्म vibhagah, a division based on duties and qualities. Chaturvarnyam, fourfold grouping of people. Srashtam was created. Tasya, its kartaram, author. Api, even though. Mam, me. Avyayam, ever changeless. Akartaram, a non-doer. Vidhi, no. The fourfold grouping of people, a division based on duties and qualities, was created by me, Bhagavan. Even though I am its author, know be to be non-doer, ever changeless. Here Krishna is referring to the Vedic system that divided people into four groups, saying that he has created both the people and the groups. As the creator of everything, Srishti Karta, the Lord cannot deny his authorship, nor does he here while talking to Arjuna. Although this classification into four groups refers to the Indian context, what Krishna says here is universally applicable. In other contexts, we see people divided in terms of royalty, nobility, wealth and poverty. Still other refers to group of people as the upper class, upper middle class, lower middle class, and so on. Wherever there are people, such classification of group are always to be found. This is nothing new. All over the world. In the Vedic context, people are divided into four groups on basis of the quality. Gunatah vibhagah, gunatah vibhagah, on the basis of what they have to do. Karmatha vibhagah. Bhagavan created this division. About this, Krishna says, Understand me to be the maker, the karta of this fourfold division. At the same time, he also says, understand that I am not the karta. I am the non-doer, akarta, because I am changeless. Avyaya, I do not undergo any change whatsoever. I do not undergo any change whatsoever. I do not undergo the change to become the Karta. How can Krishna says he has created all this and also say he is not the doer? In order to resolve this apparent contradiction, we will first look into the division of people based on guna and karma. Then we will look at how Ishvara can be their karta and at the same time be non-doer. The division of people according to guna, the division of the people according to the qualities, guna vibhaga is found not just in India but all over the world. The qualities upon which this division is based are psychological. That is, that they refer to the composition and disposition of the mind. The division based upon the quality of the mind, manoguna, is fourfold, as we shall see a little later. The guna qualities are three in number: sattva, rajas, and tamas. The meaning of which we shall also see. Everyone has these three qualities, and from certain combination of these three qualities, four groups are derived. One possible composition of three gunas is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, where Sattva is prominent, predominant. Rajas is less predominant, and Tamas is the least dominant. The second composition is in the order is predominance of Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas. Similarly, the third composition is Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. And the fourth is Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva. These are the only four compositions possible. There can be shades of each of these four, but fifth composition is not possible. One may ask, why not Tamas, Sattva, Rajas, or Sattva, Tamas, Rajas be fifth and sixth composition? By looking at each of the three gunas involved, we shall see why only four varnas group of people are possible when the division is based on their gunas. Sattva stand for any type of thinking. Rajas stands for activity, and Tamas for dullness, inactivity. Contemplativeness, inquiry, silence, Shanti, and disciplines, Sama and Dama, are Sattva. Discipline is also found in a person in whom Rajas is predominant, but there will be lot of ambition, energy, and enthusiasm along with it. A go-getter, for example, Tamas is dullness, lethargy, and laziness. Everyone is a combination of these three, and as we have seen, combinations can vary. Babies, for example, are Tamas, Rajas, Sattva. Tamas being predominant, they sleep most of the time. As they get older, Rajas predominant and they become very active. Finally, they are grown. We expect them to be Sattviks. The Sattva, Rajas, Tamas composition is a very beautiful description of a person's inner disposition. A person can be predominantly contemplative, a thinking person, because of which certain things are very evident to him or her. An emotionally mature person, an inquirer, philosopher, anyone who thinks predominantly about fundamental values, the end in life, and so on, is naturally a combination of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas respectively. If such a person, Sattva is predominant, backed by Rajas in second place and Tamas taking the third place, this is one type of person. The second type will naturally be Rajas as predominant. with either sattva or tamas as the second. When rajas is predominant, the person is very active, fired by certain ambition. When this ambition is directed to the welfare of others and to certain ideals, there are a lot of thinking involved. Therefore, sattva is the second place. Sattva in the second place, the person's enthusiasm and actions are backed up by thinking. Such people generally become good leaders. The world needs such leaders. The third group of people are known those who are always active, having rajas predominant, but have tamas rather than sattva in second place. It means there is ambition rather than thinking behind their action. An example of ambition being thinking is when someone goes after money, power, and so on without any consideration for others. Because such a person also has certain sattva, some thinking capacity, he or she will not only be very active but also be very clever and intelligent. But because tamas is predominant over sattva, there will be lot of scheming, manipulation and exploitation of others. On the other hand, sattva is backing up the rajas. There will be consideration of other people. There will be respect for life, for wealth, and for freedom of others. Whereas when tamas backs up the rajas, there will only disrespect for dharma, meaning there will be no regard for others. For such a person, individual ambition is more important, and he or she becomes a disposed, rajas being predominant. Such people also become world leaders. If they do not become leader, only their families and perhaps their neighbors suffer. However, if such people assume world leadership roles, the result can be devastating. The fourth type of person is where tamas predominant, present no such problem. At worst, these people are small time criminals and at best simple employees. But out of any real contentment or anything, but simply because of dullness, such people have no ambition whatsoever, not even to make money. In fact, they have already decided that they cannot make money. If I could make money, I would have made it long ago, they will say. And then to justify their laziness, they add, who needs money anyway? If such a person has little ambition or something, he or she will not work to make things happen and will compromise at every turn. This is meant by dullness, tamas. If tamas, rajas, sattva person wants to become sattva, rajas, tamas, he or she has to become rajas, tamas, sattva first. Then rajas, sattva, tamas, and then only sattva, rajas, tamas. There is only jumping possible here. If it is process involving growth in it, is what maturity is about. It is also what we mean by karma yoga, whereby one becomes mature by doing karma with karma yoga attitude. See, nowhere it is, nowhere, no way of explanation I can say that you don't have need to do your basic karmas. Basic karmas are very, very important. Up to rajas, tamas, sattva, growth is simply a matter of performing karma, pursuing one's own end according to dharma. Only when one performs karma with the attitude of karma yoga does the person become sattva, rajas, tamas. This is the person who can become a sannyasi. Shades of difference exist within each of these four groups. For instance, rajas, tamas, sattva can be a criminal or just an ambitious salesperson. When the latter invites you into his or her place of business with a smile, you may end up paying for a smile too. There is a rank selfishness in this type of person that makes him to or her convert every action into dollars and cents. Rajas, tamas, and sattva people can follow dharma or adharma. Shades of difference being there. When one reaches rajas, sattva, tamas, one automatically follows dharma. These are the three qualities that cause the difference in group of people, not only in India but the world over. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas belong to Prakriti, nature, which belongs to Bhagavan. On the basis of this Prakriti, the division of people according to the qualities of Guna Vibhaga is done. People come under the four groups formed by the possible combination of the three gunas. Since everyone has to work his or her way through the four compositions in order to mature. In Vedic context, people having the first combination, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, are called Brahmanas. Those having the second combination, Rajas, Sattva, Tamas, are called Kshatriyas. Those having the third, Rajas, Tamas and then Sattva, they are called Vaishyas. And those having the fourth combination, Tamas, Rajas, Sattva, are called Shudras. This then is the Guna Vibhaga, the fourfold division based on quality referred to in this verse. The division of people according to duties. There is another kind of division inherent in this system, also fourfold. The division of people according to duties. There is another kind of division inherent in this system, also fourfold. The people of each division being called by same names. This division is based on duty, karma vibhaga. The duty of Brahmana, for example, is to teach and to officiate at rituals. His life is one of prayer for the welfare of the society, and he lives a very simple life with no more than barest essentials. Brahmana doesn't live with too many variety of luxuries. Bare essentials. He leads the life. He must practice sama and gain dhamma. He must practice sama and gain dhamma. He studies the Veda, teaches and serves as an officiating priest, undertaking all the liturgical activities that are the duties of a priest. The society required that certain religious activities be conducted, and the Brahmana is responsible for them. He is a priestly person. So there is a guna. So there is a guna-wise Brahmana and duty-wise Brahmana. Similarly, there is guna-wise Kshatriya and duty-wise Kshatriya, whose duty is to protect dharma, be committed to knowledge and protect the Vedas. As Kshatriya, Arjuna's duty was to rule and protect the people in terms of administration, judiciary, law enforcement, and defense. All these functions fall under Kshatriya Dharma and are duties to be done in every society. A Vaishya is a person who deals in commerce, wealth, farms, agriculture, and so on. Commerce involves bringing things from place where they are produced and selling them in other places where they are needed. Thus, a Vaishya is the one whose duty is to make things available for people, available to people. The people in the fourth division, Shudras, provide the hands and legs and ears for the others. Their duty is to serve, and without such people, nothing could be accomplished. The activity they perform are found in all societies in the world and must be done if the society is to function. In Vedic religion, the activity of each of the four groups of people are converted into duties and are enjoyed according to family. We do not know when it started, but whoever was doing the duty of Shudra, a Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana kept passing the same duty down to his or her children. Strictly speaking, anyone who does the work of a particular group should be known by the name of that group, regardless of which group he or she is born into. A person who is born into Brahmin family but does Vaishya karma is a Vaishya now. A true Brahman, on the other hand, is one who, having been born into Brahmana family, lives a simple life so as to exploit the society, studies and teach the Vedas and perform obligatory ritual for welfare of the people, just as his father, grandfather or great-grandfather did before him. Duty being there, we have these four groups of people. Of course, duties can transgressed. But if it is not the point here, the duty, the karma themselves are the basis of the division of people, each group having its respective duty. So there are Brahmana duty, Kshatriya duty, Vaishya duty, and Shudra duties. A man who is Brahmana in terms of karma duty may chant the Veda, officiate at ritual, and so on. But guna-wise, he may be ambitious and may want to recognition. He may want recognition. Such a person is not sattva, rajas, tamas. If, however, he carries out his duty with the attitude of karma yoga, he is sattva, rajas, and tamas. Then his attitude is, this is my karma, my duty, these duties are to be done by me, they are my offering to the Lord. Karma yoga and duty based society. If a person does his duty according to his guna, with the attitude of karma yoga, then his offering is for the Lord. Karma yoga is relatively easy for a person who is born into a structure where concept of duty is clearly defined. When the spirit behind the structure is understood, all the person has to do what has to be done. The person need not choose a vocation in life. He or she knows exactly what is to be done based on his family he or she is born into. One's duty is written over one's forehead at birth. So to speak, the person who believes in the law of karma, here is no other reason for him or her to have been born into a particular family. Some karma is the governing factor, and what is now to be done is clear. For example, a man who is born into a Brahmana family knows what he has to study, perform yajna and so on. What he does so happily while performing his duty, it does not matter. If only I were an administrator, I would have earned a lot of money by now. Instead, I have nothing. If earning money is the main criteria, a system based on duty cannot work. Everyone will look to see which vocation produces the most money and go for that. If medicine produces money, one will become a doctor. And when a glut develops in the field of medicine, one will turn to another field where there is more opportunity, more money. If money and power are the main criteria, there will be no structure, really speaking. Money and power will set up the structure for one's education, profession, marriage, and so on. In Vedic vision, moksha, liberation, is the main aim. The Veda says that you are perfect and you have to gain this knowledge, which is moksha. For this you must have a mature mind, and such a mind can be gained only by living a life of karma yoga. Karma yoga necessarily implies clarity with regard to your duty, what you are to do. When you are clear about what your duty is, then you can perform any karma activity as duty. We have seen how the duty of Brahmana are very evident to all to the person. Similarly, the duty of Kshatriya are very clear to him, and he performs his karma as duty cheerfully. A Vaishya also knows exactly what is to be done by him. His father is engaged in either commerce or cultivation, or he may have a cattle farm. The son chooses one of the three or involves himself in all of them. The son chooses one of the three and involves himself in all of them. Whatever he chooses to do is done as his duty and for reasonable profit. A Vaishya too is not supposed to exploit the society in any way. For example, he must not create a scarcity by buying all available stock, storing if it's somewhere, and then releasing it in small amount at large profits. When people begin clamoring for it, such practices are definitely not in conformity with dharma, nor are they Vaishya dharma. Thus, when Vaishya performs his duty happily according to his own dharma, it can be yoga for him. Dharma yoga, karma yoga. The duty of Shudra karma are the same. They are not lowly or demeaning karma, they are simply duties to be done. Superiority is determined by one's maturity, not duty. No duty is superior to another. Each duty is as good as necessary as every other duty. Therefore, one group of people is not superior or inferior to another group of people. All are but Parameshwara, irrespective of which group they belong to. In every society, there are certain activity to be performed, and these activities or duties fall into four general groups. Thus, the group that people belong to differ from each other only in terms of duties attached to them. When a person belonging to any group performs his or her duty with an attitude of karma yoga, that person becomes guna wise, sattva, rajas, tamas. A Brahmana who chants the Veda for the sake of personal glory become Rajas, Sattva, Tamas. Rajas comes before Sattva. If he does it for money alone, with no other ambition, he becomes Rajas, Sattva and Tamas. And if he performs a ritual in the temple with an attitude of dullness, for no other reason than to feed himself, it is Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. There is another kind of Brahmana who enjoys what he does and does it well, but at the same time want everyone to listen to him. He is always looking around to see who is coming. There are also who sees someone who has lot of money coming, will stop right in the middle of performing a puja and fawn all over the person. God has to wait, it seems. Thus, there are several varieties of Brahmana. Brahmanas, meaning Brahmanas, both duty-wise and guna-wise. Kshatriya Brahmanas, those who are Brahmana duty-wise and Kshatriya guna-wise. Vaishya Brahmanas, those who are Brahmanas duty-wise and Vaishya guna-wise. And Shudra Brahmanas, those who are Brahmanas duty-wise and Shudra guna-wise. In the same way, there are Brahman Kshatriyas, Kshatriyas, Vaishya Kshatriyas, and Kshudra Kshatriyas, Brahman Vaishyas, Kshatriya Vaishyas, Vaishya Vaishyas, Shudra Vaishyas, Brahman Shudras, Kshatriya Shudras, Vaishya Shudras, and Shudra Shudras. Who is superior in all of these? A Brahmana, Brahmana, Brahmana Kshatriya, Brahmana Vaishya, and Brahmana Kshudra are all equal. So the Brahmana is superior. The statement must not be misunderstood. When we refer to a Brahmana as superior, there we are not talking about a person who performs the duties of Brahmana. We are talking about the quality, the maturity of the person in mind. There is lot of confusion around this very point that is given a rise to prevalence of the caste related problems. If a man who performs Brahman duty says he is superior, he is definitely demonstrating a lack of the qualities of Brahmana and is therefore not Brahmana. You will find many great historical saints who are not Brahmanas by birth being worshipped in temples in India. Some were Shudras and others were Harijans, meaning those who do not belong to any of the four groups. Most of these saints were duty-wise Shudras, but they have place in temple because they were Brahman Shudras. Therefore, gun-wise people can be Brahmanas while belonging to any of the four duty-based variation. Duties may change, but qualities do not. This classification of duties and people can apply anywhere, not just in India. Here, the only difference in the fourfold division is that it was reflected within the family structure itself. Each family belonging to one of the four groups, probably less than 1% of the people, still follow this system. But almost amongst those who do, the son of Brahmana still studies and teach the Vedas, performs the prescribed rituals and pray for the society, and lives a simple life. This system is almost gone because it requires certain protection, and that is no longer enjoys. No system can survive unless it is protected. Prior to the Mughal invasion, the royal families protected the fourfold classification structure in India. However, during the 800 years of Muslim rules, it was destroyed. Later, in the interest of survival, people concerned themselves only with the doing what had to be done to look after themselves and their families. Because a man no longer bothered about what his father's karma was, the whole structure changed in terms of duty. However, in terms of quality, Guna Vibhaga, the division of people, does not change. This is where Karma Yoga as an attitude becomes clearer. A Karma Yogi is one who does what is to be done with the proper attitude. Such a person is also a Brahmana, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, with reference to quality of his or her mind. Only this Brahmana can be a sannyasi. The mandate that only a Brahmana can be sannyasi is based on quality of the mind alone and has nothing to do with which group a person is born into terms of duties. The Vedic culture then divides people into four gunas. Chatvaraha Varanaha, according to their duty, karma, the system itself being possible because of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, found in everyone. And Krishna as Ishvara says, I created them all, but do not blame me. I am not the doer. Because of their own karmas, they are born differently. To blame Ishvara is putting your finger in the fire and then the fire burns it and asks, did you burn my finger? The fire replies, yes, I burnt your finger. Why did you burn my finger? I did not burn your finger. But you told me you are the Karta. You were the one who burned. You just said it. You did it. Yes, I said it. But you also said you are not the Karta. You said you are a Karta. Why? That is because I did not burn the I did not burn your finger, the fire says, but you burnt. Yes, I burnt, but you said you did not burn. Yes, I agree, because I did not burn. What is all this? The fire says, it is the Karta and also the Akarta. Then the fire explained, I did it because I burned the finger. Nobody else burned the finger. It was me, but I did not do it because I did not go after your finger. Did I? You stuck your finger into me. You asked for it and you got it. After all, I am a fire, Lord Agni. In whichever form you invoke me, in that form I will bless you. You can try again. I can boil water for you. I can warm up your room or your hands, and I can burn your fingers too. But what do you want from me? I will give you what you want. You have to do that karma accordingly. Tell me, and I will give it to you. But do not blame me. From my own standpoint, I am not the Karta. From the standpoint of what you receive from me, I am the Karta because you get whatever your karma deserves. I am the law and I cannot transgress the law that I am. Similarly, as Ishvara Krishna says that he had created the particular structure reflected by the four groups of people as part of his creation. Therefore, we are to know Ishvara as Karta, but maker or creator of this fourfold division. At the same time, he is also to be understood as a Karta, because he says, I have not done this at all. I am non-doer. How can this be? Only from the standpoint of the world and the four groups of people in it can we take Krishna to be the doer, the Karta, whereas in reality form, his own standpoint as Parmeshwara, he is not the Karta or of anything. Therefore, he is not subject to be blamed. A person has particular karma that determines whether he is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. Which group a jiva is born into is the jiva's own doing and has nothing to do with Ishvara. His fourfold division is in the creation. Those who have sattva as predominant quality becomes Brahmanas. Those who have rajas as predominant becomes Kshatriyas or Vaishyas. It all depends on one's composition. Everyone has the capacity to change his or her composition because everyone has a free will. One's composition has nothing to do with Ishvara. He is only the giver of the result of action, karma phala data, and is completely impartial in this regard. Ishvara is Karta from the standpoint of what is created and Akarta from the standpoint of his knowledge about himself. Meaning from him there is no notion of I am the doer. Ishvara has no karatratva buddhi. Krishna said earlier that this was not only true for him but for everyone too. Everyone who looks upon Ishvara as oneself, Atma as a Karta, is also a Karta. I hope you got this beautiful point in your mind, that God is the doer, Karta, but an Akarta. That example was beautiful. The fire says I burned, but fire didn't burn. Who burned then? It was your karma which burnt your finger, not fire. Fire just gave the result. In the next verse, we will see the one who has clear knowledge of Ishvara is not bound by actions. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spraha iti mayo bhijanati karma bhirna sabhadyate. Actions do not affect me. There is no longing with reference to the result of action for me. The one who knows me clearly in this way is not bound by actions. These words we will see tomorrow. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.